We are learning more about the killing of Mexican cartel boss El Mencho that led to massive unrest in Puerto Vallarta and really across Mexico. Now, Mexican authorities say they found the drug lord by following one of his romantic partners. That was the tip that put him in the crosshairs of the Mexican military, who eventually killed him. And that prompted a very scary day with explosions, gunfire, and fires in retaliation for the cartel boss's killing. And by today, thousands of Mexican soldiers are deployed to quell the violence. Here's what a cartel expert said about just how powerful El Mencho was in an interview with Major Garrett on The Takeout.
In a decade time, in just over a little over 10 years, from an unknown group, he made it into the most powerful Mexican cartel that we see right now currently active. And even to many points, I would make the argument it is the most powerful criminal organization in the world. CJNG, or Jalisco New Generation Cartel as it's known, has a presence in over 40 countries per the latest DEA threat intelligence assessment that we have available.
Now, he added the U.S. regularly shares intelligence training and funding with Mexican units tasked with an operation like this. So I want to bring in Ray Donovan, the CEO of Stack 21 Solutions and former chief of operations for the DEA. Ray, thank you so much for being with us. You led the operation that led to the capture of the other notorious Mexican drug lord, El Chapo. Many of us have heard of El Chapo. That operation took years of planning. How does it compare with the capture of Mencho over the weekend?
I think the capture of El Chapo was similar in that it took 15 different agencies, Mexican and United States agencies, to go after him. It took about 2 years to really drill down to his exact location. And similarly, now with the operation against Mencho and CJNG, there's a difference. The difference is you now have the whole of government in the United States, because these cartels are designated as terrorist groups, sharing intelligence to go after those cartels. So it's much broader. The intelligence sharing between Mexico is a lot more precise and exact. And I think that you're going to see a lot more operations similar to this one going forward.
It's interesting because El Mencho's death, as we mentioned, sparked violence across Mexico between the different drug cartels. Do you think his death is going to be enough to slow down the import and distribution of drugs here in the U.S.? Or will his cartel or others, which have thousands of members, simply find a new leader? Is it enough to cut off the head of a snake? Will two more grow back?
I think it will disrupt the overall cartel. And I think that we're going to see a power struggle, power vacuum taking place right now. And some of the elements within the cartel will align with other organizations. Some will form their own independent organizations going forward. So the next few years will be critical to the outcome of what's going to happen with CJNG.
Now, the Trump administration has credited tougher enforcement as the border as being one of the biggest reasons that overdose deaths are down. Do you agree that that is the most effective way to prevent deaths, or do you attribute the decline in better access to medications like Narcan, which can reverse an overdose?
I think it's a combination of effects. I think the border is one. I think education is another. I think demand is down. I think we did a fairly decent job while in the DEA of spreading the news of the dangers of fentanyl and other synthetic opioids and stimulants to non-for-profit organizations throughout the United States that then went out into the community and spread the message. So it's a combination of law enforcement efforts, national security efforts, and education.
The war on drugs, it seems like, though, it looks like a game of whack-a-mole. It seems like every month there's a new drug cocktail, or polydrug as they're known. It's a blend that's harder to detect, harder to reverse the effects. Many of these drugs combine with even animal tranquilizers, and they can be made in people's kitchens, Ray. How do folks like yourself and the DEA keep up with this?
See, that's exactly what the challenge is for law enforcement. I think because of social media, the internet, the world got a lot smaller because of technology and trade. It really opened the door for synthetic stimulants and opioids and other dangerous chemicals that come into the United States. And so it's really up to law enforcement to remain vigilant and create laws, establish legislation that holds those networks, those international networks, accountable for distributing, trafficking chemicals into the United States. It is a day-to-day challenge for us.
You know, up until now, so much of the focus on the war on drugs has focused on South America, Venezuela. Now we're hearing more about Mexico. Do you think that those efforts are being properly divided in terms of where they should be focusing?
Well, we estimate about, and when I say we, law enforcement, about 90% of the illicit drugs that come into the United States come in through Mexico. So fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, even still marijuana, heroin still coming in by way of Mexico through the ports of entries along the southwest border, specifically through the POEs in vehicles. And so the focus still needs to remain there, and the collaboration with Mexican government needs to get stronger, and the sharing of intelligence needs to be continuous.
Ray Donovan, thank you so much. So great to speak with you.
Thank you for having me.